So lovely to sit with you all tonight. Let's go ahead and just begin with a short sit. And so I just invite you to go ahead and close your eyes. And if you like, you could also lay down if you need to. If you do so, please go ahead and leave a bolster or a pillow or something under your knees, just so that your lower back drops and you'll be more comfortable. And let's just begin by just taking a couple of breaths and noticing what's here in our system right now. Conditions are such from today that it's like this. So there could be some stress, or you might be feeling at ease. And just taking a moment to notice my system's like this right now. Totally temporary. It'll be different later, but it's like this right now. Allow yourself to gently release whatever tensions or stress you're noticing. It's okay that they're here. There's just no need to hold on to them or cling to them. And you can release this extra energy either on the out breath, just gently breathing it out, releasing it, letting it go. Or you may notice it more as energy bubbling or heat releasing from your body. And if so, you can just let the energy flow out. Just taking a moment to note it, where it's flowing from or flowing out from. So for instance, you may notice energy leaving from your bottom of your feet or your hands, or maybe the top of your head, or out your back. So either gently breathing out any tension or allowing it to just rise off the body, flow out of the body. And we may notice different kinds of stress or tension. You might notice physical tension, tightness, or bracing or erasing energy in your body. There may be mental tension or stress, racing thoughts or stressful thoughts running through your head. Those thoughts are just energy as well. You can just let them, breathe them out, let them go. And there might be some emotional stress. Your heart hurts today, or you have a lot of anxiety or grief. Again, it's okay that it's here. There's just no need to hold on to it. So we allow it to arise and flow out of our body. We allow and let go. Allow and let go. And as we do this, we begin to empty out the stress of our day. We may find there's a little more room inside. Or we may notice more flow, sensations arising, thoughts arising, and then they flow away. In doing this, our system starts to clear. We begin to come back into our natural state. And as you're emptying the day's stressors, I just invite you to take a moment to notice any place inside that feels spacious or quiet, or you may even notice just the quiet of the room. And let yourself begin to breathe into that spaciousness or quiet. You can still be emptying, but you're just taking your attention and focusing on the quiet, the spacious. And as you breathe into it, letting it get as big as it wants. Resting in its peace and ease. And you can go ahead and let yourself become it. Become this peace and ease. We do this by just letting go of stories, letting go of the body for a moment, and just letting the quiet or the space be your body. So it's as if this quiet peace and ease is breathing. And again, letting it get as big as it wants. This is our essential nature, a deeper part of us underneath all the noise and busyness. Always here in the background. And so we can just rest in our essence, and there can still be bubbling and energy releasing. And essence just notices. Doesn't get involved with it. %90 of our attention is on essence, and just 10% noticing any bubbling or rising. Mostly we're just resting in peace and ease. Letting sensations in the world go by. And tonight I'm just going to end our sit with a quote. All the world's spiritual geniuses seem to discover universally that the mind's muddy river, this ceaseless flow of trivia and trash, cannot be dammed, and trying to dam it is a waste of effort that might actually lead to madness. Instead, you must allow this muddy river to flow unheeded, mildly acknowledging its presence without much interest and involvement. We do much better when we just let the muddy river flow and just empty out rather than trying to dam it and fight it. So it'll be spring this week. Happy spring to everybody. Yeah. And as we go forward in our work, what we're going to start doing is talking a little bit about how to lighten the load, which is really nice for spring to kind of have some new beginnings and fresh starts. And so just to review a little bit, over the last number of weeks we talked a little bit about essence a while back and just kind of taking our seat in essence and how peaceful that can be. And we also talked about the 7 domains, and we talked about our formations. And last week we had talked about how our domains come to be, how we get cultivated and shaped into the person that we are through our conditions and our lived experience. And so this week, I wanted to move us a little bit more into how do we actually start to enjoy life a little more? How do we loosen up the stuff that's tight? And so a lot of people think that they're going to get happiness and contentment when they achieve something. So as soon as I get that degree, or as soon as I get that job, or I get the perfect partner, or I lose 10 pounds, whatever it might be, life's going to be great. And so we've been raised a lot to believe that happiness and contentment comes from achievement, that when you achieve the right thing, you'll be happy. But in fact, happiness does not come from that. And now we have lots of studies that have actually gone out and proved that, about what actually brings happiness to people. And where happiness and contentment really comes from is from freedom. It comes from having the freedom to live fully across your life. Not fully in one or two areas, but fully across your life. And when we can do that, life feels great. There isn't any place we can't go, nobody that we can't love. We can play, we can explore. It's like life just unfolds like that flowing river, and it's all lovely and beautiful. But what happens to most of us is that we aren't fully free across the board. We're free in a couple of domains, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 5 domains maybe. But then we bump up against these places where we're stuck in life, these places where we're afraid, or we're frozen, we can't go forward. And any place that we're frozen or have pain or fear, that's where, the freedom stops, joy stops. We start to get sad, mad, angry, whatever's happening to us. And a lot of times these places are long-term painful places. People will say to me often, and it's true even in my own life, I can look at places that I've had to work my whole life, People say things like, I just can't do intimacy very well, or I just can't be in connection with my body. I just haven't been connected to my body in, decades, things like that. And these places that we can't be free bring a lot of pain, and a lot of judgment. A lot of times we believe there's something wrong or bad with us because why can't I live as fully as other people do in that domain? So over these next few weeks, what I want to talk about is freeing that up a little bit, how we can maybe start to do that. So a lot of times when we have a sticky domain, we're not great in our emotional life, our social life, our cognitive life, our physical life, whatever it might be. A lot of times people try to go straight to development. So they sign up for the yoga class, they sign up for the trainer, they go on the diet, they get a new boyfriend. Okay, that relationship didn't work. I need a new boyfriend. That's what it is. When I get a better him or a better her or a better something, it'll all be better. And so we often go into development. And what many of us find is that development doesn't often work, particularly in these stuck domains. It works great in the domains that you flow in already. If you're a great athlete, getting training is fun, and you get more training and you get better at it. But in the ones where we're stuck, oftentimes our development falls apart, usually after a few weeks. We can kind of use our willpower for about 3 weeks, and then often we kind of fall off the wagon as it goes. And the reason why is that we haven't dealt with the stories and the scripts and the heaviness that we carry in our painful domains. So what actually can bring freedom? How can we get real freedom in a domain where we're stuck? What I found in my practice is that, and working with tons of people, is that there's two things we need first before we go into development. And that is, we have to release the old script, the old pain, the old fear. That's the first thing we have to do. And the second thing we need to do is to embrace our essence, to really bring essence into this sticky domain. If we go into the domains that we're doing well in, oftentimes essence is already there. If you're a great painter and you love painting, people will say, oh, I just paint for hours and I'm just in the flow and it's beautiful. Or I go ride my horse for a few hours and I'm in the flow. I love to work out. I love to write poetry, whatever it might be. We get in that flow, we're already usually connected to our essence. But we have some obscurations in the domains and the areas where we're stuck. So what we want to do is we want to free up that old pain, release that old pain, and then step back into essence. Bring essence into that domain. Once we do that, if we have essence in the domain, then we have the freedom to develop our potential again. Freedom, essence is free to play, free to love. It isn't afraid in the old ways that our ordinary mind gets stuck. And so I'm going to actually make a suggestion here that's a little kind of backwards. So we want to get to essence, but we actually need essence to be able to deal with our old pain. Essence actually becomes our foundation for dealing with our old pain, our old fears, and our old trauma. And so I just, again, because to me, it's not so much what I talk about, it's what you experience that matters. And so what I want to do is just do a little exercise here where you can taste for yourself what it's like when we work with essence as opposed to our ordinary mind when we come up against difficult things. So I'm just going to ask you to take a moment to get comfortable and close your eyes for a moment. We're just going to walk through a couple of things here. And, please, when we work with essence, however you touch that peace and ease, so I may give a suggestion and If that doesn't work for you, do what works for you as we do this. Yeah. So the first one is, I just want you to take a moment, just take a breath, kind of let go of my words for a moment. And I want you to call up something that scares you and not terrifies you, but just something that scares you. So if I said to you, maybe I'd like you to do some public speaking, or, everybody is going swimming and they're jumping off this cliff and looks safe, everybody else is doing it, and you might go, I can't jump off that cliff. I can't do it. So something that scares you. And take a moment to feel how that is in the body. What is fear like? You might notice some shaking, or you're not breathing as deeply. Your body braces. And notice the quality of your mind. You might feel your mind speed up. I can't do it. I can't do it. Don't ask me to do it. And I'm saying, yeah, I want you to do it. Just notice what that's like. Feel the stress and the tension. And then standing there in front of the room of people or on the cliff, I'm not going to ask you to jump yet. I'm not going to ask you to jump. I just want you to feel it and go ahead and breathe out the stress a little bit. Just breathe some of it out. Stay in that situation. Just breathing out the tension and stress. All we're doing is asking it to flow a little bit. And then I want you to just notice where there's some quiet or space inside. Or again, it could be in the whole room around you. And just let yourself notice where there's some quiet. Usually for people, it's in the background. You can have all the fear in the front of your body. You might feel some quiet in the background. And just let yourself step back into that quiet, or step left into it, or however you find it. Just breathe into that quiet for a moment. Just letting it get as big as it wants. And just take a moment to notice, is this quiet space or quiet energy, which is really just touching our essence? Is this quiet scared? Is it shaking? Or is it more peaceful and at ease? And just take a moment to feel the ease that's there. Notice what effect that has on your body and your mind. Maybe easier to breathe, or you feel more spacious, less constricted. And then go ahead and let that go. Just kind of breathe that experience away. letting go of the scared, letting go of essence for a moment. And now I'd like you to call up a time when you have felt shame or regret. Something you didn't feel proud of, you didn't feel good about. Might be you didn't want to drink and you were drinking. You cheated on somebody. You stole something. Or you're ashamed of a failure. And just really let that come forward. And again, just feeling how your body and mind are in this moment. How does shame feel in the body? How does it make your mind feel or your heart? There may be a lot of judgment or sadness. And then again, go ahead and breathe out the shame, the regret, just to give it a little flow. And go ahead and take a step back again into the quiet that's in the background or the spaciousness. And let yourself breathe into that. And again, noticing how it is for your body and your mind to now be connected with this spaciousness or this peace. And notice, does this quiet energy have the same experience? Does it judge? Feel terrible? Or is it just noticing? Does it judge you? Or is it more neutral? And then you can go ahead and let this one go. Just breathe it out, release it all. Just empty. And this time I'm going to ask you to call up someone that you are mean to or dislike, think you're better than. somebody who you disregard. You don't really have respect for them. You don't like them at all. And again, notice your body and mind. What's it like in the body and mind when you are disliking someone or maybe even hating somebody? Notice how you wear that in the body. You might notice tightening or bracing. Or looking down your nose at them. And then if you like, you can just release some of that on the out breath. And again, take a step back or come into the spaciousness, stepping into the quiet, breathing into it, letting it get as big as it wants. Again, notice the effect on your body and your mind. Is your body as tight? Or does it open or soften? What happens to your mind? And then just letting essence look at that person. Notice if essence, or this awareness within, notice if essence is feeling the same judgment. Or does it see them a little differently? And then you can go ahead and breathe that away and just let it all go. If you like, just resting in the spaciousness for a moment. Coming back to this deeper part of you. So hopefully you got a taste of what it's like to be able to feel a formation, to be able to feel the tightness, the difficulty of it, and then take that step back and feel the ease of essence, that the body and the mind changes in that moment, becomes more spacious, less tight. Perhaps we don't have the same judgments or the same fear, the same shame level. And so this is important because as we're going forward in our release work, when we meet our formations, they can be really charged and really scary and painful and difficult. And so being able to practice like this with essence gives us a foundation in order to meet the formations that we need to clear, the ones that are causing us difficulty. And this is great in two ways. One, it gives us incredible stability. And so we're able to go ahead and handle anything that comes our way, even formations that are around a lot of painful things or trauma. Essence can hold it. Essence is bigger than trauma, bigger than our pain. And so it gives us this incredible stability. But the second piece is that it gives us a home base. And so as we check into this home base, the more we practice with essence, the more we start to feel like, oh, this is who I am. Oh, this is my natural mind. Oh, yeah, okay, this is always in the background. And that's really important when we go to release our formations, because many of us are attached to them. Many of us feel like they're part of me. This is my 4-year-old part of me, and this is my 15-year-old part of me. And people say to me, I can't let this go. This is part of me. Who will I be if I let this go? And when I'm working with people, I say, well, take a moment, step back. What do you feel? And they're like, oh, I feel peaceful. I feel calm. I feel centered. I feel great. It's like that is who you're going to be when you release this pain, when you release this old story. And so essence is a really important foundation. It can handle the heat of what our formations and our pain and our old stories hold, but it also is our home base. And so we're not afraid to let go of these old stories. We're not afraid we're going to disappear or we're going to cease to exist. We know we're going to be okay. We come home to our natural mind, who we were before all the fears and pain stuck to us. So this is a really important piece of going forward in release work. Otherwise, the pain feels too big and overwhelming at times. The fear feels too big, or we're too attached to that story of who I was when I was 4. We think we're going to disappear without it. And it's so important to know that's not true. That actually we're going to be just fine when we let go of these stories. They're in fact extra energy that are just stuck in our system from years ago, decades ago. You know, sometimes I'll work with somebody who's in their 80s and they're dealing with a formation, a memory of something that happened when they were 4. And they're like, oh my goodness, this has been here for over 70 years, causing pain, making me afraid to live, making me afraid to risk or have joy or play, whatever it might be. So I want to invite you this week to go ahead and play with this. You know, as you see stressful moments, see if you can take that step back. Breathe out for a moment if you have to breathe out the tension. And then just take that step back into the quiet, into the spaciousness of the room, if that's how you access it. And just breathe into it for a moment. And see if you can feel that home base, like, oh yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. So that this becomes more familiar, more who you feel like you really are. And it just becomes your foundation. And then we'll use this when we go forward talking about release. You'll have this safety within to face whatever comes up for you and to also know that you'll be just fine. You'll be absolutely just fine in this work. And what you're going to find is more freedom, more ease, and more joy. So I'd like to end with just reading a couple of quotes that just really point to what's possible with essence. The first one is from Hamid Ali, who is the developer of the Ridwan School and the Diamond Heart approach. And he says, in general, the presence of our personal essence brings about an increasing radical movement towards autonomy and individuation, leading to greater actualization of our potential. One becomes more creative, more productive, more original, more fulfilled in our personal involvements. Accomplishments and developments manifest, and one's potential develops and expands in a meaningful way in accordance with our real aims. A sense of confidence in our capacities develops speedily, along with a certainty about who and what we are. One increasingly values their own presence and the capacities and manifestations of their presence. So it really helps us come alive and be able to realize our dreams and our potential, because we're landed in this essence that's so peaceful and strong, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what they tell us we get to do or not do. Essence is kind of like, thanks for sharing, but I think I'm going to be me. So it's wonderful. And it also works in those times when it's really painful out in the world, when conditions are such that it's absolutely painful. We can learn to be free even in painful times. So here's a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. You can scrub the floor as a free person or a slave. That is up to you. Everyone has certain things to do, but you can do them as a free person. You can cultivate your freedom. This brings a lot of dignity, and everyone will sense it. With the practice, you are really free, no matter what situation you find yourself in. So in essence, we are able to cultivate that inner freedom that allows us to be free no matter where we are or what situation we're in. And we can cultivate the skills to release our fear and tension and the places where we're stuck, so that we have this freedom to keep living fully. So it's up to you. You get to do it. You're in charge of your own freedom. I'm just kind of pointing some ways that we might be able to do that. So if you need some review on how to access some of what we're talking about, you can go to maureenfallon-cyr.com and just look at some of the old recordings that we have, the older ones from the last few weeks. And we have recordings on essence, accessing essence, our formations, and the 7 domains. So you can go back and look at those and just kind of help yourself develop the skills, so that when we go forward, nobody's feeling left behind. Everybody's like, oh, I got a sense of this. I can do this. It's going to be okay. So I hope this has been of service to you. I hope that it's helpful. I hope that it ripples out, the practice we are doing ripples out from all of us through our own lives to our beloveds and out in the world, so that more people can hear about this, more people can get this idea of that release is possible and getting in touch with their own essence is possible. And then all kinds of potential is possible for each of us. So I hope that this serves you, and I hope you have a great week. And yeah, take care. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.